foreign bodies in ears and eyes and nose. So what we're going to look at now is foreign objects, things that are going to be stuck in people's eyes, ears and nose. Now this is mainly found with children, although foreign objects can happen to anybody. The first one we're going to look at is what to do if you get a foreign object stuck in an ear. Now with ears, it's more common that you're going to get something stuck in there from a child, such as a bit of blue tack, a toy, a bean, a bead, things like that. But other things can also get stuck in there, such as an insect. Now if someone's got something stuck in the ear, it can affect the hearing or maybe reduce the hearing. It can affect their balance and it can make them feel pretty miserable. It can be quite painful in some cases as well. Now if you can easily get it out, well then just get them to tip the head to one side and let it fall out. But what we shouldn't be doing is sticking anything into an ear. You know the old saying, nothing smaller than an elbow in someone's ear. Because cotton buds and things like that, which people might commonly use to put in someone's ear, they can make things worse. You know, the bit of cotton wool on the end of it can actually fall off and stick in there even further. And you can actually damage someone's hearing by doing things like that. They do recommend though, if you can see it and you can access it easily, you can use tweezers. But be very careful you don't push anything inside. So you're just gently pulling it out with a pair of tweezers. That's okay to do, but be very, very careful. Now with insects in the ear, this can sometimes happen that an insect will crawl into your ear. Now these can usually be removed by tilting the head to one side, like we said, or they also suggest if you tip the head the other way, if the insect's in this ear, and just gently pour water in there, allowing the insect to float out. Just be careful with doing that as well though. Now let's have a look at injuries to the eyes. Because the eyes can be injured in lots of different ways. We could have something like a chemical that gets into our eyes. And if you get a chemical into the eye, we need to be able to wash it out. So we can turn the head to one side and then wash the chemical out. You just need to make sure that you're not washing a chemical in the direction of the good eye, because then the chemical will damage that eye as well. So if you've got a chemical in this eye here, don't tip the head that way, tip the head this way so you can wash out across the eye, and using something like water, eye wash, saline solution. Now if you have got a chemical, you obviously need to make sure that you know what that chemical is, because you need to put that information across to the emergency medical services, because they might advise further treatment. But just keep flooding the eye with water and then you'll need to contact the emergency medical services. Just make sure you've got that chemical ready to give that information to them. Now other little things that can get into the eyes, it could be just a speck of dirt, sand, dust. The problem is when you start trying to get something out like a speck of dirt or sand out of the eye, you could actually cause more problems and more injury to that person. Now if someone does have a bit of dust or a speck of dirt in their eye, such as sand, I normally just get them to keep blinking and the blinking will hopefully flush it out. If that doesn't work, you can then just gently separate the eyelids and you can just flush some water over there in order to be able to get it out. It normally just kind of forces a bit of dirt into the corner of the eye. What we don't want to do though is by rubbing the eyes, because by rubbing the eyes it can make it more painful and can scratch the eye, which is not what we want to do because that's making something worse. Even when you get that bit of dirt out, there is still likely to be some discomfort because the eye itself has probably been scratched. Even by blinking you've probably maybe scratched the eye as you move the bit of dirt. So if it's still sore, I would always go and seek medical help and ask them what to do next. Other things that can happen is maybe you have a cut to the eye, like just across the ear. So the actual eye is not damaged, but you've actually got a cut onto or maybe into the eyelid. Now with this we can just use one of those sterile dressings we did for the bleeding section in the video earlier, give them an eye patch and then get them to seek emergency medical services help because they're going to need some stitches or gluing there. So one thing about eyes is that the eyes actually track, so they actually move together in most people. And if you were just to cover one eye and leave the other one exposed, then this eye is still going to be moving because they track together. Just try that now. Just put your hand over your eyeball and look around the room and you'll notice this eye is still moving. It's not going to be too bad if it's just a cut to the eyelid, having this eye moving. But if you had something embedded, like a bit of metal or something quite big into this eye, you obviously don't want this eye to be moving. So you're going to have to cover both of the eyes. Now what you could do is cut both hands and put them over the eyes like that. but you need to be able to reassure them because obviously they've lost their sight. Or you can get 2 plastic cups, paper cups, and put them over their eyes like that, especially if the embedded object is quite big. Always obviously make sure that you keep that casualty safe, so don't walk them around if they can't see. Sit them down, reassure them, maybe place a hand on their shoulder if they've given you permission to do so, and just get emergency medical services to come and help. Not being able to see when someone has previously been able to see is quite a scary thing for them to go through, so keep reassuring them. And if you actually had to move them, always guide them through. Tell them what's going to be happening. They're putting all of their trust in you as you're walking them maybe to a car. And we showed you how to actually treat a bleed on the face or the head or the eyes in our previous bleeding video. But by all means, go and have another little practice now. And then finally, what to do with an item up a nose. Now this is again something that is quite common with children rather than adults. They can put beads up their nose, same sort of things as they would in their ears, Play-Doh, things like that. You might not always notice there's something up their nose though, but they might sound a bit nasally when they talk, or they might be complaining of a pain, or you might smell something up their nose. You can smell something because it's going to get infected. If a child has something up their nose, it's really important we don't say blow, because by encouraging a child to blow, they're more likely to sniff. So do not say blow. If someone has something stuck up the nose, you don't want to push anything up there in order to push it up further, so you can't stick a pair of tweezers up there, unless it's something that's easily accessible on the outside and you can just grab the end of it, but you've got to make sure you don't push it up any further, and you're going to have to go and seek medical help. But a few little tips that are quite good to know, especially if it's your child, and if it's not your child, you can always contact the parents and carers and get them to do this. 2 tips. One would be, those Calpol kind of syringe things. Just place it on the outside of the nose and try to see if you can suck it out using those Calpol syringes. If that doesn't work, if there's something blocked up this nostril here, you could ask the casualty to hold this nostril, then ask the parents or carers to blow into that child's mouth, if it is a child of course, and hopefully it will shoot out. Now if those don't work, you are going to have to go and seek help from the emergency medical services. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our important videos.